guys, today I am here to do a review of Vicious by B.E. Schwab. I spit. Hi guys, today I am here to do a review of Vicious by B.E. Schwab. Just so you know, I loved this book right off the bat. I loved it. And I will be dividing this review in 3 parts. It will be the no info section, the no spoiler section, and the spoiler section. I've done this before, but just in case you don't know, so some books are worth getting into without knowing anything, Just some books give you really little details about them and they're just really cool. So yeah, so I will just give you like a very brief feeling thoughts on the book without any information so that you can just go blindly into it and experience the whole story for yourself. And I will be doing also a non-spoiler section where I will go into a bit more detail as to what the plot is about. No spoilers, no major like, holy, why did you say that? But I will dive into what the summary says, just the summary, so I will totally warn you, and then I will go into spoilers. Yeah, you know those. So for the new info section, Vicious, it's about an anti-hero, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's it. That's what it is about. I really liked the book. I loved the characters. The way B.E. Schwab wrote them was so fantastic. It's the first B.E. Schwab book I read, but if she writes her characters as well as she did with this, my respects to her. She's one of my all-time favorites now. Yes. I already have another book of hers and I cannot wait to dive into it. I think she's going to be one of my auto-buy authors. She was so great. I loved the story. I just cannot tell you how much I loved it. It was so different, so refreshing, and it was just really a really great story. I love the cover. I talked about it on one of my book hauls or wrap-ups. I'm not sure, but it's a guy staring off into space with a cup, blood dripping on his hands, and it's just so great. It definitely talked a lot about what good and what evil is, what defines who the good guys are and who the bad guy is. It's a lot about that, and yes, I definitely recommend it to anyone that wants something a little bit different from the ordinary YA. It's not really a YA book, but yeah, I just thought it was so good. It's so good. It is violent-ish. I don't know why, but it made me think of a Zack Snyder movie, like the Sucker Punch feeling to it, or the 300 feeling to it. I think if it were to be made a movie, which, newsflash, they bought the rights for the book to make it a movie, it would be great if it were directed by Zack Snyder. Just saying that. And that's all I can say in the area of no info. So if you want something refreshing, cool, and just something that really makes you question your morals and be like, huh, I would totally go into Vicious. You will really like it. I think you will like it. I loved it. It's so good, so good. And yeah, let's get on to the no spoiler section. So for those of you who don't want to know anything about it, leave. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, no spoilers, but a little bit more. So Vicious, it's about a guy named Victor and Ellie who are college roommates, and they are working on their thesis, and yeah, they're working on their thesis for one of their classes, and Ellie decides, it says that both of them share an interest in adrenaline, near-death experience, and seemingly supernatural events. So, yeah, they basically do their thesis on people with extraordinary abilities. E.O. Extraordinary people. And they are investigating and doing things and stuff, and then something happens. Something goes really wrong when they're doing their work for the thesis, and shit happens, and then Victor goes to jail, and it's 10 years later, and he basically wants revenge with Ellie. So it's about that. I don't even know where to start. The book has a really balanced thing where it goes from them being in college to the present, and it just goes 10 years ago, present, 10 years ago, present. And I usually don't like it when books do that because I don't like flashbacks or something, and they can usually be stressing or something because I want to get back to the present, and I'm just like, oh my god, get it over with, the backstory, yada 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 yada. But in Vicious, the backstory was so amazing and so important, and I cared so much about both sides. Like, when I was in the present, I wanted to go back to the past, and when I was in the past, I wanted to go back to the present. Or not even that, they were just so important. Both of them had so much value, and they were so great, and it was fascinating to see more and learn more about each character and what motivated them to do what. It was so greatly done. It was so greatly written and so greatly managed. I loved it. And the beginning especially, it tends to go more towards when they were in college, and it was so fascinating because Victor and Ellie, well, I mean, Victor especially because he's the one the story mainly focuses on, but Victor was such a flawed character. He was really selfish and envious, and I was like, you're not a good person exactly. But it's so weird because I could relate so much to that. I'm a human person, normal, and I am not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. Nobody is. There's this part where Ellie is getting a lot of attention and Victor is just like, I can do better than that. I'm better than that. Why is there no attention on me? And I was like, well, that's a seriously envious, pretentious way to look at things, you know? How selfish can you be? But then I remembered that just a couple of days ago, I was with a friend and there was this guy talking to her because she was reading, and he was like, oh my god, you read a lot? And she was like, yeah, I read a lot. And they were talking, and he was like, oh my god, so few people read that much today, and it's so amazing that you read and stuff. And I was beside her, and I couldn't help but think, I read a hell of a lot more than her. I have a booktube channel. And it made me feel so bad, but I thought of it. I was like, I read more, instead of being like, hey, yeah, good for her. I was being selfish on the inside and thinking about me. So it really put things in perspective because I am very flawed and I can get jealous often. I get jealous. Everyone gets jealous about things, you know. I get really jealous about my books. So when she was talking to this guy, I was just like, hey, I read more. I read more. Or more like I wanted to do that. I didn't do it though. And that's what I think makes a good person a good person. In books, I feel like we often have this good character that really wants to be good. And you get that he's or she's good and that's it. They're good, they're selfless, they have really good intentions. It makes me think about, like, for example, Frodo from The Lord of the Rings. He definitely gets corrupted by the ring, but it's because of the ring. But in general, he's like selfless and just nice. Or Harry Potter with the like Philosopher's Stone. He's just a good soul and just no bad intentions at all. And even though it's nice to aspire to that, I don't think that normal people feel that way in real life. In real life, we're flawed. We're very, very much flawed. And we have bad thoughts, bad feelings, and that's normal. But I think that what really sets apart a good person from a bad person, it's whether or not you act on those feelings. I felt jealous of my friend because she was getting attention for something that I thought I deserved more, and that makes me sound like such a horrible bitch, but I'm not really. I just felt that, and I was like, why am I thinking this? It's great for her, she's getting attention, and she does read a lot. I may read more, but she does read a lot, and she deserves that recognition. So I jumped into that conversation and I was like, yeah, she's read this, she's read that, she reads a lot, and I just joined them and praised her. So I thought that my actions were really good, and that made me a good person. I was happy for her at the end of the day. And Vicious really made me think about that, and like I said, in most books, good girl or good boy, it's good, and you just like them, and I feel like they make an effort to make you like them from the beginning. And with Vicious, V.E. Schwab didn't really bother. She was like, you like him, you don't like him, I don't care. He's a human being and he's like that, and if you like it, well, and if you don't, well, I don't care. Which is what I think made it so genius. Victor was so realistic, and so was Ellie. They were both so realistic and so amazing and so flawed. She made the perfect characters by making them flawed. And it's so funny because, like, I kind of liked Victor in the beginning, and then it was like, I don't like you that much, and then it was like, what the hell happened to you? Because a big thing happens, and Victor just seems really evil, like really batshit crazy, and Ellie looks really sane, and I was like, what the hell, Victor? He deserves to go to prison. He definitely deserved to go to prison. And Ellie keeps on being good guy and Victor keeps on being bad guy, but then as the novel goes on and you see the present, I'm like, Ellie is good guy and Victor is bad guy, but I believe more in Victor than I believe in Ellie. So I was changing a lot my alliances, and I had such a hard time with this. I was like, is Victor a good guy or is he a bad guy? Is Ellie the good guy or is he a bad guy? And I couldn't place any of them in a box, and I wanted them to be just strictly labeled good guy and strictly labeled bad guy. And again, my mind was blown because I realized that nobody is good guy or bad guy ever in real life. There is no one that's always good guy. We've all made mistakes. We sometimes do make decisions that are not the best for others, but are the best for us. And sometimes we do good things that are good for others and just the right thing, you know? People are like that. So it was a totally different experience. I hadn't realized that I had been reading so many characters that were very much perfect in everything. And of course there's annoying characters, but they usually are just annoying because they're really stupid. Like annoying for the sake of being annoying to make the reader feel annoyed. But Victor and Ellie, they were hella smart. They were smart kids. Their reasoning was good reasoning, and they still weren't taking the best course of action, making the best decisions, and I am just in awe at this book and what it made me feel. The ending, I did not see it coming, even though I should have. I feel like I should have seen it coming, but I was so busy trying to decide in my mind what I wanted the ending to be like. Did I wanted Ellie to succeed? Did I wanted Victor to succeed? What did I want? I wasn't sure of what I wanted because both of these characters were assholes. They were assholes, selfish assholes, but I couldn't decide which selfish asshole was a little bit less selfish and asshole-ish. They both are vicious in their own way, cruel, bad, and merciless. They have no mercy. That. I had never read a book like that, and I'm so happy to have found this. And overall, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend it to you. And yes, now I will talk just a little spoilers because I want to just talk about some things, get them out of my chest. And yes, so if you've not read Vicious yet, thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you will check it out. I will leave a link to the Amazon sample so that you can read the first couple of chapters because it's really good. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, and do let me know in the comment section like if you've heard any other good things about it. I will also leave a link down below, a review to Grace with Books in Her Face. That's her channel. She made a review of Vicious, and by watching her review, I wanted to read Vicious myself. So if you want to check out her review, leave it a link down below. Just go watch it. And yes, I'll see you guys in the next video. On to the spoiler section. Okay, so spoiler people, welcome. I am assuming you already read Vicious, and oh my god, the ending. It was so obvious, and it was like so good, and I was like, yeah, the bullet, the pistol without the bullet, so that, you know, he wouldn't die and that Serena would be tricked, and I was like, oh my god, it's so obvious. And also when Ellie shot Mitch and he has like the vest, and I was like, it's so genius. And I was so sad when Victor had died, and I was like, no, and then they're taking Ellie away, and he's like, no, burn the body. And I was like, whoa, holy fucking shit. And the truth sank in. I am sorry if I'm not making much sense, but my brain is going at like a... I read it a couple of days ago, but my brain still is like, cannot compute because it was so awesome. And when Victor killed Ellie's girlfriend in the beginning, I was like, he was pure evil in that part, you know? He had no feelings towards her, and in the end, I'm not sure he actually had feelings towards anybody. He seemed to be really nice with Skylar. Is her name Skylar? Sydney? I can't remember. I'm saying Skylar very, very, very strongly, but no, it's Sydney. I'm sorry. If I said Skylar, it's Sydney. It's Sydney. He seemed to be acting really nice towards Sydney, but there's parts where he does lose his temper towards her, and he's like, kill this bitch, and I was like, Not Ellie, not Victor had any actual redeeming qualities, but I don't know. I wanted so badly to, like, vote for one of them or be on one of them, on one of their sides, but I just don't feel like I was on the side of any of them. I really like Mitch. He was nice towards Sydney, and I think he's the one that really carried the empathy toward the book. But as for Victor and Ellie, they were just both selfish assholes, but for what it was, I loved the ending. I was like, oh, that Victor got his victory now. And it does make me think a lot about Sucker Punch. I mean, the ending in Sucker Punch is really sad, and Sucker Punch is my favorite movie of all time, just in case you didn't know. I love that movie, but I don't know, it gives me that feeling, that edginess towards it, not really liking anybody, but you're still rooting for them, and then at the end you're like, oh, nice, nice. So that was definitely a thing. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm sure I missed talking about something that I have more things to say, but right now my brain is not really working that awesome because I still have all the awesomeness and the epicness in my brain. And there's also, I loved the chapter where they describe the cover. It's in the very first chapters, if you remember it. It was so great. I saw some reviews where they said that they wanted a sequel, but I don't think I want one. I really liked how this was wrapped up. I want a prequel, and there is a prequel out, and I think it's about Mitch, but I'm not sure. I will check it out. But so far as this book, I thought it was just great as it was. So yes, 5 out of 5 stars, all of the stars. Do let me know in the comment section down below if you liked it. If you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? Thank you so much for watching. I will also leave a link to my written review on Goodreads because I will have more things to say or to add or more structured thoughts over there. And yes, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! It was such a good book. It was such a good book. Oh, I remembered something. Ellie is cray. He's cray based on religion. But you know what? You know what? Religion has always been the very, very most prominent cause of death throughout history. I do feel like taking the root of religion was a very cliche way to go. I would have expected that in a villain story or whatever, but I felt like it was really well justified, and it also seemed realistic. It was the most realistic way to go with that plot line. So big round of applause to V.E. Schwab. I love her. And I've only read that from her, but I'm sure I will love A Darker Shade of Magic and The Archived and everything else. So yes, thank you for watching. Goodbye.